Ready? Ready on Joshua McCormick?
Yes.
Calling case number 21-56572, the people of the state of Michigan versus Joshua Lee McCormick. Defendant is charged with count 1, assault with intent to murder, count 2, weapon, felony, firearm, count 3, motor vehicle, unlawful driving away, count 4, weapon, felony, firearm, count 5, failure to report an accident. This matter is scheduled for examination.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. The case filed on behalf of the people, P78816.
Afternoon, Your Honor. Restatement is P76203, appearing with Joshua McCormick, who's presently paying custody.
All right, ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge. I will move to question witnesses.
The people were joining that this particular case order, Your Honor. OIC is testifying. He is not in the courtroom at this time.
You know, witnesses testify today at time, and will be court remarks tonight.
You ready? You want me to get on there? You want to see what happens? Yes. Yes, I want to mark that one.
At this time, the people called. At this time, the people called Gerald Simmons.
You're all set?
Before I do that, I would like to, I need to move on to this election. Your Honor, I'm going to ask that at the time of the identification that everyone in the court remove their mask or want to move their officer out of the sight of the witnesses in this matter. But for purpose of identification, I would ask that everyone in the court remove their mask.
Any objection?
No objection.
My name, N-A-T, N-A-T-A-Y-A-I.
And leave it on for right now.
Okay, now. Oh, you saying for?
Yeah, we'll get to that point. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Thank you.
Okay.
D-E-R-A-L-D, that's I-N.
Thank you. How you doing, Judge? All right. All right. Where are our judge? Nothing with you, so, yeah. I do.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm sorry, may I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Can you please state your name for the record?
Good afternoon, my name is Gerald Simmons.
Okay. And Mr. Simmons, where are you employed?
I'm retired from the Detroit Fire Department by way of the Detroit Police Department.
Okay. I'm going to take you back to November 21st, 2020. Were you in the area of 8 Mile and Vaughn on that day?
Yes, I was.
And did you observe anything which brings you into court to testify today?
I observed an accident that I stopped to administer help if I could.
Okay. Now, let me, go back. When you say an accident, what type of accident do you mean?
An auto accident.
Now, you stopped to say to render assistance to the people involved in the auto accident?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you actually witness the collision?
No, I did not.
What did you observe once what made you pull over?
I saw what looked like three people standing around what I thought was another person. So I stopped to see if I could administer aid.
Okay. So did you see two vehicles that look like they had been involved in an auto accident?
Yes, I did.
Or more than two vehicles?
Two.
Two. And what else did you observe?
I pulled my vehicle on the island in the middle between 8 Mile, on 8 Mile between Detroit and Southfield Division, and got out of my vehicle and started towards the people gathered. And as I got close to the three of them, I noticed one man had a gun in his hand.
Okay. Now, based on your observations of the three people, were you able to observe, well, let me ask you this. You said you observed a guy with a gun in his hand.
That's correct.
And what was he doing?
He was making a statement to two other men. He said to them, I'm not trying to. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
So I'm not gonna ask you what he said, I'm asking what was he doing with the gun?
Oh, he was holding it in his right hand.
Okay. And was he pointed at anyone?
No, it was pointed down.
And then what you observed next?
I approached really close by then and I pulled up my shirt to show that I had a badge.
Okay. And who are you showing your badge to?
The person with the gun.
All right. And then what happens?
I told him he needed to put that away.
Okay. Did he put the gun away?
He walked past me toward the other, one of the cars, so I thought he did.
Okay. Did you get an opportunity to see the type of vehicles that were involved in the collision?
Yes,
Okay. And was the person with the gun one of the people involved in the collision?
yes.
Do you know what type of car he was in?
He was in the Dodge Charger SRT.
Okay. And do you know what type of car the other vehicle was that was
Yes.
involved? What type of car was that?
The Dodge Charger SRT.
Oh, so there were two Chargers involved.
Yes.
Do you remember the color of either of the Chargers?
No, they were both dark colored.
Okay. Now, you said that the man with the gun, you thought he put the gun away.
That's correct.
Where was he going when you thought he put the gun away?
Toward one of the Chargers.
Okay. And then what happened next?
A white car drove up. The person who had the gun and the person who was in the other Charger kept getting in a small argument,
Okay.
and I kept trying to break them up.
All right. Then what happened?
It looked like it was getting out of control, so I called 911 to see if there were any officers close by to get there quickly.
Does the person with the gun eventually use the gun?
Yes,
What did he do?
he shot the person in the other Charger, seemed like point blank right in the face.
How far are you when you hear the shots ring out? How far are you from both individuals when you hear the shots ring out?
Between 20 and 25 feet, I'd say.
How many shots did you hear?
About 7 or 8 shots, maybe less than, between 7 and 9 shots.
Okay. So you got an opportunity, you said you were about 20, 25 feet away. You got an opportunity to view the person who was shot and the person who did the shooting. Is that your testimony today?
That's my testimony.
The person that was Well, let me ask this, did either of them have on masks?
No.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I'm going to ask for everyone in the courtroom to remove their masks for purposes of identification.
All right, everyone, please remove your mask.
At this time, Mr. Simmons, I'm going to ask you to take a look around the courtroom to see if you see the person that you said had a gun in his hand and did a shooting that day.
Yes, I see him.
Where is he?
He's sitting with the green on
Okay,
and the glasses.
so you described, Your Honor, please let the record reflect that the witness in this case has identified the defendant in this matter, Joshua McCormick.
Record so reflect.
I'm going to ask everyone to put their mask back on.
Yes, please.
Now, you said that you saw, prior to the shooting, you saw the defendant with a weapon in his hand. And you actually put it away. Did you actually get a chance to see what type of weapon he had?
It was semi-automatic, just,
You know what color?
silver, I believe, silver.
Okay. And were you able to give let me ask you, did you stay long enough for the police to arrive?
Yes,
Okay. Were you able to give the police a description of the shooter?
yes,
And while you were there, did you see the person that was shot? I'm gonna call him victim in this case. Did you see the person that was shot with a weapon?
no,
At any time while you were on the scene, did you see the person that was shot with a weapon?
no,
At some point, were you given, or were you shown photos of potential suspects in this case?
yes,
When you were asked to participate in the lineup, did the police tell you who to pick out?
no,
Did they go over an instruction sheet to tell you what you were required to do?
yes,
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, move for the mission of People's Exhibit 1, which is the lineup instruction form, as well as the identification sheet.
No, sir.
Thank you. And I'm also moving for People's Exhibit 2, which is the actual photo array that was shown to the witness in this matter.
Any objection?
No objection.
Amen.
Mr. Simmons, so you said you are participating in the photo lineup, and were you able to pick out someone that you observed as a shooter on November 21st, 2020? And is the person that you identified in the lineup the same person that you identified today in court?
yes, it was.
May I publish to the court, Your Honor?
Yes, please. Yes.
I can now approach. Now, after the shooting, where did you see where the person that committed the shooting, did you see where he went?
Yes,
Where did he go?
he ran from the scene, to the island where it was parked, headed toward the gas station, then he turned back and got into a little car.
Do you recall any description of this particular car?
It was a white Malibu, had out-of-state plate, I think a Minnesota plate.
Now, was that Malibu on the scene at the time when you first arrived?
No,
So that Malibu came to the scene at some point during all of this?
yes,
And did this happen in the city of Detroit?
yes,
Is that in Wayne County?
yes.
So I just want to be clear for the record. You saw the defendant, the person you observed today, get into a white Malibu. Did that Malibu pull off from the scene?
Yes.
No further questions of this witness.
All right, so sir, it's your testimony that you observed an accident on 8 Mile, and that was approximately November 21st, is that correct? You saw the aftermath of the accident? Is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
Oh, you didn't see the actual accident occur?
No, I did not.
Is that correct? And around what time was it?
I'm not sure at the time.
Was it in the morning, night,
No, it was in the evening.
in the evening? Had the sun already gone down?
No,
Sun was still shining,
yes.
approximately 6, 7 o'clock?
I say 6-ish, but I'd be guessing.
Around 6, okay. So you stopped and you wanted to help the individuals who were involved in the accident, is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
Okay. Where did you park in relation to the accident?
I parked up on the grass in the middle, so, there's parking on both sides. Well, not really, but there's places on both sides. I was in the middle of 8 Mile on the grass.
Approximately how far are we from the accident?
I'd say about 15 feet from the furthest car of the accident.
And then you exit your vehicle and walk over to the individuals who were involved in the accident?
Yes.
And approximately how close did you get to those individuals?
I walked all the way up on, I'd say within 3 feet.
Okay. You testified that you observed them arguing. Was it at that point when you walked up?
When I walked up, I observed them arguing.
Okay. And during the argument, you noticed the individual was holding a firearm?
As I walked up, I noticed him holding the firearm. So my first,
So as you walk up, you're arguing at that time
yes,
while he's holding the firearm?
that's correct.
Firearm wasn't pointed at anyone, is that correct?
That's correct.
It was pointed downward.
That's correct.
Not threatening anyone with a firearm, pointing it or anything, is that correct?
I'd say that's correct.
Okay. Then you stated that you tried to stop the argument, is that correct?
Yes,
Was that something that you did physically or verbally?
verbally.
What'd you say?
I said, son, you need to put that gun up. And I showed him my badge, and he immediately reacted, by turning and walking away.
He put the gun away, is that correct?
That's what I believe.
Okay. And what'd you do after that?
I talked to the gentleman to see if he was okay. That was the person driving the other car, not the person with the gun. The victim, she named the victim.
Okay. And then this victim, isn't it true he walked back over to where the individual was who was originally holding the gun?
Yes, he did.
And
He
at some-
stopped. Oh, go
he
ahead.
walked back over to him, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and at some point, it became physical between the two of them, isn't that correct?
No,
And you didn't see it, you never saw it become physical between the two of them?
I never stopped looking at them because I was talking to 911 at the time, and they never physically got into it.
You never saw any shoving or fist flying or anything like that?
None.
And you were able to clearly see what was going on the entire time?
Yes,
Is that correct? Thank you. You recall seeing the victim reach for something in his waistband?
no,
You don't recall seeing that?
no,
Were you able to see both the right side of the victim's waistband and the left side of his waistband at the time you were observing?
the victim back was to me. And he turned to say something to the young lady in the car. And so those are the only two positions I saw, from his back and from his left side.
Okay, so you're observing him from behind,
Right.
is that correct? So you don't know, you can't say what he was doing in front of his waistband, is that
No,
correct?
I certainly can't say that.
Okay. All right, nothing further.
Yes. When you, saw the victim go back to the, defendant in this matter, were they face to face?
At first, defendant back was to the victim. And, I could tell that they were, the victim was cussing and arguing at the defendant.
Okay. When the victim was cussing and arguing, did you observe any weapon in his hands?
No,
How long after the argument did you see him get shot?
the victim turned to the lady in the
Hold
car.
on,
I'm sorry.
that's not the testimony. And he heard his shot. You didn't say, what you said, you didn't see anybody get shot. You didn't see like,
I saw him shoot,
you saw a person shooting.
and I saw the victim get shot, yes.
You saw, okay, you saw the result of him shooting, person actually get shot.
Yes, they were point blank.
Okay, all right, go ahead. I just want to make sure you.
So you testified that they were arguing and that the victim was facing, I'm sorry, that the defendant's back was to the victim, is that correct?
That's correct.
And at that time, did you see any
Shoot.
weapons in the victim's hand?
No,
How long after that incident would you say that, was it that the defendant turned around and started shooting? Well, let me ask you this. How long did that occur before the victim got shot?
the defendant seemed to keep ignoring him while he kept going until he addressed the lady in the car, and then he turned and fired.
Okay, when you say he, so I need you to,
Okay, the defendant seemed to ignore the victim
okay,
for quite some time.
when you say quite some time, how
I'd
long?
say
would you
a minute and a half.
Okay,
And just a bad feeling, but, 911, I kept telling them to get somebody there. And the victim turned to the lady in the car and started with her, and the defendant turned to the victim and started firing.
now when you say the lady in the car, is that the driver of the white Malibu?
That's correct.
Okay, no further questions now.
Couple more minutes.
So you stated that the defendant was ignoring the victim, is that correct? So the victim was being aggressive towards the defendant while he's ignoring, is that fair to say?
I'm gonna object to the word aggressive, that was not his testimony.
So what was he ignoring? He was ignoring the victim's words?
The words that the victim was saying to the defendant.
Was he making any threats towards the defendant? Did you hear any threats?
I didn't hear him make any threats at that time.
Did you ever hear the victim make any threats?
When I first got to
You asked me for a hearsay statement?
So,
You asked me for a hearsay statement?
no, I'm asking for the context. That's if you heard any threats.
You can ask if he said something, but you can't ask if he made threats. That's what he was saying. So that part would be hearsay.
So, can you describe the victim's body language?
Yeah, the victim was, I I would say agitated is the best way to describe it. Didn't want to handle it.
You seem angry?
Oh, yeah, he was angry.
Okay. All right, that's good.
Any further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Sorry. Take care.
At this time, the people call Brian Davis.
Brian Davis. Sir.
Brian.
Where are our hopefully somebody might choose to look at it. You put the door right here, question? Yeah. Second, David. All right, Mr. Davis. You're gonna be asked a series of questions, all right? First time prosecutor, this attorney will probably ask some questions. And I may or may not answer, all right? You have to answer all your questions out loud, verbally, using words. You can take together. I'll say, obviously, yes, no, whatever the answer is, okay? Also, when you ask a question, please just answer the question and stop. If it's a yes or no type question, just say yes or no. If you need additional information, we'll just ask you another question, all right? You all have a tendency when you talk about, you do that, I'm gonna miss something. I miss something, I might not make the right decision. All right? I know nothing about this case. All the information I get on this case, I get it in this courtroom. That's why we get it one question, one answer at a time. That way I can understand. Okay? All right, the last but not least, because of the, the mask and the barriers and all that, you need to keep your voice up. You can pull that down a little bit. It will help amplify your voice. All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir. Can you please state your name for the record?
Brian Davis.
And Mr. Davis, did something happen to you on November 21st, 2020, which brings you into court today?
Yes, it did.
Tell the court, well, let me ask you this. Yeah, tell the court what happened to you that day.
I was traveling, eastbound 8 Mile, and I was at the red light, and I was, rear-ended. In which, I got out, I thought I was rear-ended to expect damage, and, I was taking, I was taking pictures for insurance purposes. And, the, other driver wanted me to put my phone down, and when I didn't put my phone down, I was shot numerous times.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. You stated that you were rear-ended. What type of vehicle were you driving?
2020 Dodge Charger,
What color?
black,
And what make and model and color was the car that rear-ended you?
2019 Dodge Charger, color gray.
Okay. Now, you say you were traveling eastbound on 8 Mile. Is that in Detroit?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that in Wayne County?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you stated that you got out to assess the damages. Did the driver of the green Charger get out as well?
Yes,
And you said that you attempt to exchange insurance information. Were you able to do that?
no.
Why not?
I guess he didn't have it, and then as I was expecting his car, he had a Ohio plate tag on the back of it. Now, it looked kind of weird, so I thought it was kind of maybe fake, so I really didn't pay no attention to that.
And The person, and then you say you were shot, were you shot by the same person that was driving the
Yes.
green Charger?
Yes, I was.
Okay. I'm gonna ask for the court to, allow everyone in the court to remove their mask for purposes of identification at this time, Eric.
All right, everybody please get out there.
Mr. Davis, I'm gonna ask you to take a look around the courtroom and tell the court if you see the person who rear-ended and shot you on November 21st, 2020.
Yes, I do.
And where is he seated? Can you describe an article of clothing he's wearing?
Green
Where is he seated?
in the back behind you.
Your Honor, please let the record reflect that the witness in this case has identified the defendant in this matter.
Work before it's done.
And Your Honor, we can all put our mask back
Yes,
on.
please.
Now, prior to you being shot by the defendant, was there an argument?
Yeah, she wanted me to put my phone down.
Okay. And did you guys get into a fight, a physical fist fight?
No, he, just mugged me in the face before he shot me.
Okay. How many times were you
What?
shot?
He mugged like a
Push, push,
yeah.
How many times were you shot?
I was shot a total of 11 times.
Where on your body were your injuries?
He shot me 2 times in the face, in the groin area, 3 times on my side, and 3 times in the back.
Were you facing him when he shot you?
Yes, the first couple of times.
How far apart were you when he shot you?
I'm right here, he was, I'm gonna say, right before the death started, so he was real close.
So, Your Honor, that would be for the court's purposes. He said right in front of the prosecutor's table, that would be about 7 feet.
7 feet, 7 feet.
Okay. Did you have a gun?
No, ma'am.
Did you see the defendant pull a gun out?
Yes.
And what type of gun did he have,
It was
if you
a Glock.
recall?
It was a Glock.
Okay. Do you, were you eventually shown a photo, lineup of potential suspects of the person who shot you?
Yes.
And were you able to identify the shooter in this case? May I approach the witness, Your Honor? I'm approaching with what has been previously marked as People's Exhibit 3, which is the line of instruction form. Actually, I'm not approaching with that. I'm approaching with Exhibit 4, which is the photo lineup that was given to the victim.
Any objection?
There's no objection.
May I approach?
Yes.
I'm gonna ask that you take a look at those documents. Was that the photo lineup that you were shown in this case to identify potential suspect?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were able to identify someone, is that correct?
Yes.
Did the police tell you who to identify?
No, ma'am.
That person with the shot?
Yes, ma'am.
Did the person that you picked out in this photo lineup, is that the same person that you identified in court today?
Yes, ma'am.
Move for the admission of People's Exhibits 3 and 4, Your Honor.
No objection.
Yeah, approach. Publish it to the court, please.
Thank you.
What happened after the defendant shot you?
I fell to the ground.
Did you see where he went after he shot you?
No.
You said no?
No.
Do you know if you were still there when the police got there?
By that time I was out of it.
Okay. You left by ambulance?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you see him when you were getting into the ambulance or
No, ma'am.
All right. As a result of your car being rear-ended, how much were the damages to your vehicle?
My vehicle was totaled.
What's wrong? What difference does it make the damage to the vehicle?
For count 5? damages to his property, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, as a result of you being rear-ended, your vehicle sustained some damage, correct?
Correct.
How much were the damages?
The vehicle was totaled, so the insurance company, paid for the vehicle.
How much did they pay?
44,000.
May I have the court's indulgence for just 1 second, Your Honor?
I'm sorry, couldn't hear you.
May I have the court's indulgence for just 1 second? I just need to review one thing.
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions at this time.
Oh,
Yes. So you were involved in a motor vehicle collision, is that correct?
Correct.
And that took place on 8 Mile,
Yes, sir.
and around what time?
I'm saying around 6:37-ish.
You had the sun already gone down.
Yeah. It was dark,
It was dark outside, is that correct? Okay. Not much lighting around, is that
No,
correct?
sir.
And immediately after getting rear-ended, you weren't happy about being rear-ended, is that fair to say?
No.
And you walked towards your vehicle, check out the damage you stated, is that correct?
Correct.
Went to the other vehicle, check out the damage of that vehicle,
Correct.
pulled out your cell phone at that point, is that correct?
Oh, no, not yet.
You just checking out the damage, and speaking to the
Other car, yeah.
And then at some point, you pulled out your cell phone, is that right?
Correct.
At what point was that?
About 20 seconds before I got shot.
Okay. So back up, right after the accident, you walk over to the vehicle, the two of you, did you argue at that point?
No, we were talking normal.
Did you walk back to your vehicle after the initial conversation?
Oh, yeah.
And then at some point you argued, is that correct?
No.
You never exchanged any words, never said anything?
No. Everything was kosher.
Okay. And so it wouldn't be fair to say you were saying something to the person who shot you, he's ignoring you, you were getting upset about that.
No.
That's not true.
Not true.
Okay. You ever yell at the person who shot you?
No.
So right before being shot, isn't it true you reached for something on your waist, isn't that correct?
No, sorry. Not correct.
One second. If I may, Judge.
sure.
At some point it became physical between the two of you, is that correct?
Objection, asked and answered.
Okay. I'm sorry,
No.
Yeah, no.
you never pushed
No.
the person who shot you?
Objection, asked and answered.
All right, nothing further.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Davis. You can step down. Any further witnesses?
One more, may I have just 1 second to consult with the defense counsel? Your Honor, the people are contemplating putting on the officer in charge of this case. I just briefly spoke with defense counsel, and if there will be a stipulation to the fact that the automobile that the defendant was driving belonged to Xavier Lowe, and that Xavier Lowe was not driving that vehicle, but the defendant was driving that vehicle and took part in driving that vehicle on this date and time, the people are not going to call the officer in charge if there is stipulation to this, the evidence of this particular crime.
So stipulated, Judge.
Well, I mean, yes, stipulate that he was driving the vehicle. What the vehicle belonged to, Mr. Xavier Lowe, that he was driving that vehicle, and that he didn't have permission to use, take, or drive the vehicle. That's the charge.
Your way.
Right, right. No, I'm not going to stipulate. I will wait to put it on that particular count, not stipulate to probable cause.
But then I'm putting the officer in charge on. At this time, the people told to take the line.
First name is Dutch. R-I-C, great. Last name is Martin, M-O-T-T. Well,
You swear our affirm, so the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, come up, have a seat, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Please state your name for the record.
For the record, my name is Patrick Mott.
And where are you employed?
I'm currently employed with the city of Detroit as a detective at 8th Precinct.
Okay. On November 21st, 2020, were you called to the area of 8 Mile and Vaughn?
I was.
What was the nature of the call?
The nature of the call, there was a shooting at that location.
Okay. Is the 8th precinct the closest precinct in that area?
Yes,
Were you eventually tasked with becoming the officer in charge of that shooting which occurred on 8 Mile and Vaughn?
yes,
And as part of your investigation, did you talk to any witnesses at the scene?
I did.
Did you ascertain the victim?
Yes,
And while you were at the scene, were you able to ascertain, or did you see any potential suspects that were there?
yes. So as part of the investigation, I was able to canvass the area and locate surveillance video that depicted the actual incident, including the defendant.
Okay, but was the actual person suspect there?
No,
And did you observe any vehicles on the scene?
I did.
And did you determine whether or not those vehicles had anything to do with the shooting?
Yes.
What did you observe from the vehicle?
There was two Dodge Chargers that were on the eastbound side of West 8 Mile near Vaughn. One of the vehicle was occupied by the victim in the shooting,
And when you say occupied by the victim, what's his name?
Brian Hicks.
Okay, and what about the other vehicle?
The other vehicle, per my investigation, was occupied by the defendant, Mr.
Okay, this
McCormick.
is all hearsay. You have to give it a different way.
I'm sorry?
This is, the testimony at this point is hearsay.
I'm checking hearsay.
I couldn't take it anyway, that's why I bring it up.
Okay, so you said there were two Dodge Chargers in the vehicle, is that correct?
Yes,
And you determined that there were two different drivers of each of the vehicles, is that correct?
yes,
Do you recall the color of each of the vehicles?
there was one green or dark colored green Dodge Charger, and I recall that the vehicle that Mr. Davis was driving was also a dark colored car.
Okay. Did you have occasion to determine who the green Charger belonged to?
Yes,
And was that owner Mr. McCormick?
When you came, can't testify. Counsel? You can ask the question, but he has to testify.
I asked him, did it belong to Mr. McCormick?
Again, there's nothing on the record right now who it belonged to.
Okay,
So you're suggesting facts, not evidence. So you can get the information from the witness, but you can't give them the information.
okay. So you had occasion to determine who the Dart Charger belonged to, is that correct?
Yes,
And did you find out who the green Charger belonged to?
yes,
And was that person the potential suspect in this case?
Objection, lady.
Okay, you determined who the Dodge Charger belonged to, right, the green one.
yes, sir.
How did you make that determination?
At the scene, sir, that, I was able to do a computer check and determine that the vehicle was stolen out of the city of Farmington Hills.
You checked it through lien.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. And who reported the vehicle stolen?
Object to hearsay. Object to hearsay.
All this is a lien, is where you got the information from. Those are regular business records. That's in the normal course of business. No objections overruled. Go ahead.
The person that, reported the vehicle stolen out of the Farmington Hills was the vehicle owner.
Do you recall his name?
I'll have to refresh my recollection on what they report.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me know when your memories refresh the paper.
I apologize, Counselor, but, the report only reflected that the vehicle was stolen out of Farmington Hills.
Yes,
And,
it
the actual CA number or report number.
You're correct, I gave you the wrong report. Drive. This is the link. Has your memory been refreshed?
Yes, ma'am.
Who's the registered owner of the green Dodge Charger?
The registered owner is a Xavier Lowe, LOWE.
No further questions, sir.
No questions, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brown. Any further witnesses?
No, Your Honor, not at this time.
Defense?
No witnesses, Judge.
Any motion?
Your Honor, the people ask that you bind the defendant over as charged and reserve argument.
Well, I'm gonna need your argument on count 3.
You said you, I'm
I
sorry,
need your argument on count 3.
on count 3?
Yep.
You said you do?
I do. I need you to tell me what facts we have that the defendant did willfully, without authority, take possession of and take away, did assist in the taking away of a motor vehicle from belonging to another, Xavier Love. I mean, we got that, I got that the vehicle was stolen, but I don't have that he took it.
Well,
I got that he was in it. That's receiving concealment. It's not UDA.
he was driving the vehicle at the time he rear-ended the victim in this matter, which the victim testified to. Your
I
Honor.
know, but that's not the charge. The charge is that he took the vehicle away from the owner and drove it away, or was involved in that. Not that he had the vehicle. That he had a stolen vehicle is, again, is receiving concealment.
But the people will ask that you amend the information to add receiving and concealing stolen property, Your Honor.
All right. Any argument?
Yeah, Judge, I was gonna make an argument as to count 3. It's gonna be amended, and it's a question of fact.
All right. Any other question of fact? With that amendment, question amend count 3 to receiving concealing stolen property. Court finds that those felonies did in fact occur in the city of Detroit, so will call this charge as defendant. Will be filed over the Wayne County Circuit Court Criminal Division for arraignment on new information, which will be April 26th, 2021, at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Judge, let me address bond. Client has no prior criminal convictions. He currently resides with his parents. I've been in close communication with both of them. He lives in Van Buren. He's been there for the past several months. He's a Stevenson High School grad. He has a child on the way, but wants to get back to his girlfriend so he can be there for the birth of his child. His bond is right now is set at $1 million, which I believe is extreme given the overall circumstances. I don't think he's a flight risk. When he was out, I was representing him. He was in close communication with me. He planned on appearing at all of his court appearances. I'm asking the court to set the bond more reasonable, $100,000 and 10%.
Voice be heard.
Your Honor, the people respectfully disagree with this court amending the bond to anything lower than what it is. Actually, the people had argued for a $500,000 cash surety bond to the magistrate. The magistrate actually exceeded the bond based on the fact that this defendant is clearly a danger to this community, Your Honor. Based on what you just heard from the victim just testified that he was rear-ended and that the defendant got out of the vehicle, and after an argument, the defendant had his back turned, and then after an argument, he turned around and point blank shot the victim 11 times. He's not shooting him not once, not twice, but 11 times, Your Honor. So the people believe that he's putting a danger to this community. He's riding around in a stolen vehicle, and the people just do not believe that, a 10% bond is appropriate in this matter, Your Honor. We ask that you leave the bond as is.
You can take the dollars, you know.
There's no rest on what I previously stated. He doesn't have any priors. He's not a flight risk. He promises to appear, and I've been in very close communication with him while I've been representing him prior to him being in custody and since he's been taken into custody. I think the bond is excessive. I ask the court to set a more reasonable bond.
Yeah, I don't know, and there's nothing on the record that would show that the defendant is in fact a flight risk. However, you know, from what I just heard, he is a danger. I mean, he driving a stolen vehicle, rear-ends another person, and shoots that person 11 times, point blank, twice in the face. You know, and then continues to shoot in the let me try to get it right, in the groin area, in the side, in his back. You know, I can't imagine what would make a person so angry to do that. You know, so at this point, I'm not gonna miss that. I'm not gonna take it. I'll refer to DSU. That's what I do.
Yes, please.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Counsel?
Oh. May I close, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
That happens a lot. Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Counsel, call him. You all have a good evening.
Oh, Counselor,
Yes.
I need the amended code for stolen property, receiving and concealing stolen property. That was count 3, Judge?
Yeah, that's confirmation.